What is known about the suspect, Kyle Clifford?
So he's 26 years old. He's a white man. He has a beard. He used to be in the military. Apparently, I think that came out a couple of hours ago. That he has a history in the military, which might explain why he is perhaps good at being on the run. Perhaps if he has that kind of training.
We start with the crime incident in the UK. The wife and two daughters of the BBC racing commentator John Hunt have been named as the victims of a crossbow attack in Hertfordshire. Police say that it was a targeted incident and a major search is now underway for the 26-year-old suspect, Kyle Clifford. In a statement, Chief Superintendent John Simpson addressed the man directly.
Kyle, if you're seeing or hearing this, please make contact with the police via 999. Beyond the immediate search operation, a major crime inquiry has been launched, and we also appeal to the public for any information in relation to the incident. This incident will be, of course, of concern to local residents. Additional local officers will be in the area today, so please do speak to them if you need to.
The advice for anyone who sees the suspect is to call the police and not to approach him. The Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, is being kept fully updated. These people living in Bushey, where the killings happened, spoke to us.
These sort of things happen all over the place, but yeah, when it's close to home, then it does. It is frightening and well, it's troubling. But I'm hoping that it is just a one-off.
It was like an explosion in the street of police cars and ambulances, and we didn't know what was going on, me or the neighbour, we didn't have a clue. Suddenly you noticed there was police outside in black uniform with sort of semi-automatic guns walking around. It's been a bit of a shock because it's a really residential area. You know, nothing much ever goes on round here at all, apart from people going back and forwards to work.
Well, let's speak to James Cracknell, who's the editor of the Enfield Dispatch. And James, first of all, tell us, what do we really know about this case?
Hi, Adam. Yes, well, it's very worrying because the manhunt has been going on now for probably close to 20 hours since this incident happened, and similar to what the residents in Bushey were saying, in Enfield, we've had similar sort of things happening where we've had armed police, we've had police helicopters in the skies above Enfield pretty much all day.
Because that's where the suspect lives. Is that right, Kyle Clifford lives?
Yeah, sorry, I should have clarified. So yeah, so Bushey is obviously where the incident took place, but Enfield is where the suspect lives. There's a street called Rendlesham Road, where he lives, and that there were armed police there today. There's a park nearby where the police have been sort of stationed all day. So the belief must be that if he's not in Bushey, that he may have returned back to the Enfield area. We don't have any sort of confirmed sightings of him whatsoever. But I've been hearing from residents who are very, very worried, and schools in Enfield, schools are almost on lockdown. So although they're not closed, they've been told that they shouldn't let their pupils outside today. So it's pretty scary.
What is known about the suspect, Kyle Clifford?
So he's 26 years old. He's a white man. He has a beard. He used to be in the military. Apparently, I think that came out a couple of hours ago. That he has a history in the military, which might explain why he is perhaps good at being on the run. Perhaps if he has that kind of training, and really concerning about hearing about the weapons that he might have. This crossbow, pretty shocking weapon, not the kind of weapon you expect to be used. So yeah, just very concerning.
And quite unrelated, of course, but he actually has a brother who has been found guilty of murder and GBH in the past.
Yeah, completely unconnected. But yeah, I found that out earlier that he had this brother, also from Enfield, who I think he sort of attacked someone on a moped who had damaged his car, and killed him, and was jailed for that about 6 years ago.
And what do we know about the victims? A mother and two daughters related to a BBC racing commentator. What more do we know about them?
Um, I'm not sure. I've only just been hearing that myself, that they're related to the BBC commentator. I mean, so obviously all the victims were known to each other, part of the same family. I believe there is a connection to the suspect, Kyle Clifford. That there's a connection there, and they were killed in their own home.
Yeah, I was going to ask how we know that he's a suspect. I mean, obviously he's been named by the police.
So I believe that he was in a relationship with one of the daughters.
Okay, and just finally, crossbow crime. Have you had much of that on your patch?
Not at all. No. This is completely. I mean, this is pretty unheard of. We did have an incident 2 days ago where there was a machete attack in Pop Foster's, which is another part of Enfield. So it's not been a great week, and I think the whole borough is feeling a little bit on edge at the moment.
James Cracknell, thank you very much indeed.
The three women murdered in Bushey in Hertfordshire have been named as Carol, Hannah and Louise Hunt. Carol was married to the BBC racing commentator John Hunt. They were killed yesterday evening, and police are looking for 26-year-old Kyle Clifford. They are referring to this as a targeted incident. This is Chief Superintendent Simpson. He says the police should not approach Kyle Clifford.
The manhunt also involves armed police officers and specialist search teams responding at pace in the wake of what has been an horrific incident, involving what is currently believed to be a crossbow, but other weapons may also have been used.
Well, these people who live in Bushey in Hertfordshire told our reporter what they thought about this incident.
These sort of things happen all over the place, but yeah, when it's close to home, then it does. It is frightening, and well, it's troubling. But I'm hoping that it is just a one-off.
It was like an explosion in the street of police cars and ambulances, and we didn't know what was going on. Me or the neighbour, we had never a clue. Suddenly you noticed there was police outside in black uniform with sort of semi-automatic guns walking around. It's been a bit of a shock because it's a really residential area. You know, nothing much ever goes on round here at all, apart from people going back and forwards to work.
Well, let's talk to our reporter Emma Cohen, who's in Bushey in Hertfordshire. Emma, it's pretty obvious that the locals are going to be really shocked by this, but can you tell us, first of all, have there been any sightings at all of the man the police are looking for, Kyle Clifford?
Good afternoon. At the moment, we don't believe that there have been. The search for Kyle Clifford began at 7 o'clock last night and is continuing, obviously, well into today. It's 3:15. That search has been ongoing for a long time already. We've also been told that armed officers and specialist search teams are deployed and involved in that search.
Can you tell us a little bit about the area for people who don't know Bushey in Hertfordshire? What is it like?
Well, I'm currently stood on Ashling Close, where the incident took place last night, and what I can tell you is that it's just a really quiet residential street. All the residents that we have been speaking to today have been saying how shocked they are and just how something like this attack is shocking and could never have believed to have happened on their street. We've been told it's a very affluent area, and it's a residential street and very quiet.
Now, the people involved here are thought to be, well, we know that Carol Hunt was married to BBC racing commentator John Hunt, and it's their two of their daughters, I should say, Hannah and Louise, who've lost their lives in this incident. I think John Hunt, I don't know him personally, but I do know him to be a highly respected broadcaster, a man with many friends. This is absolutely horrific, isn't it?
Exactly. I think, it's really going to shock the world, the media world, and obviously people in the area and further afield. As you mentioned, the two daughters of BBC racing commentator John Hunt were killed on Ashling Close last night. They've been named as 25-year-old Louise Hunt and 28-year-old Hannah Hunt. The third woman killed, as we've already mentioned, was Mr. Hunt's wife, Carol, who's aged 61. Mr. Hunt is understood to have been working last night in Enfield, where he'd been commentating as well, so he was at work.
Right, I think we'll leave it there just because there is so much we can't say for a string of legal reasons. But thank you very much indeed for talking to us, Emma Kerwin, who's our reporter in Bushey in Hertfordshire. And as the police superintendent we heard from earlier did say, it would appear that a crossbow is involved in this incident. And I think, Fee, there are any number of conversations that are going to arise from this horrific set of circumstances. But you don't need a licence to get a crossbow.
Yeah, and I think you just have to ask why anyone needs a crossbow.
Well, exactly. So one would hope that if anything can come out of this tragic story, it might be that we do something about that.
Yeah, we say that after every single terrible knife attack too, and so little seems to change.